Oh man, oh man, oh man. Am I excited to be back in studio for another great episode of the Amatyma Series in partnership with Bogart Radio. This is a platform for us as men to talk about anything and everything that affects our wellness, be it physical, be it mental or financial wellness. We want to talk to men who are single, married, divorced, or widowed. Mawi NDODA, mawi out, mawi cheat, as whether you're a celebrity or an ordinary person, it doesn't matter. We don't focus on your social standing, but we focus on your wellness as a man, as NDODA, as a brother. We deal with issues that affect manhood, fatherhood, and brotherhood. I'm so excited to introduce a gentleman that I call Dad, and many of us call him Dad. That's the respect we've bestowed upon him because I look at him as my spiritual father. You guys might know him as Bishop or Reverend Benjamin DUBE. How are you, Dad?
I'm good, Titi, and how you doing?
It's so good to have you.
The pleasure is mine.
I've been waiting for this for a long time, and you know this because I've been trying to get into your diary for the longest time. And as you would know, the Amatyma Series really is an open platform for us men to talk about anything that affects our wellness. And we actually don't even have topics within the conversation because we want the conversation to be driven by the story of the journey of the man that I get to conversate with.
Yeah.
It's not even an interview. As you can see, there's no prep work here. There's no laptop. There's no notes.
That's good.
Maybe move the cell phone so that you don't think maybe I'm trying to look elsewhere. I want you to introduce yourself to those that might not know who you are and also clarify how you should be addressed. Do you want to be addressed as Bishop or Reverend?
Well, look, I wear many caps.
Definitely, I would know that.
So I always check as to where I am and then use that which is appropriate and proper for that place. But in actual fact, I'm just Benjamin DUBE.
Yes.
You know, and I think people should be knowing that I was born in Joburg, and I'm from Soweto.
No ways, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Really, because
End of fire.
From End of Fire?
End of Fire.
Zone 1?
Middle and Zone 4.
Zone 4. So you're from the same neighborhood as Abo MANHOOD and Abo Speakir?
Yes.
Because they're all from End of Fire, I think.
Right.
I
In
didn't
fact,
know this.
I mean, we were all together, even Osin obviously was in Deep Clove.
Right.
And so we were very close, to each other.
Wow, what an insight.
But yeah, and I'm the last of the 5 siblings.
Right.
And my father was a preacher, and my mom more of a musician, a singer.
Right, gospel.
Gospel,
Right.
Obviously. And my father used to play guitar.
Oh.
And so, I mean, Benjamin DUBE is coming from that background, a Christian family, and obviously I used to love playing soccer.
Really?
That has been...
Dr. Kuman?
Listen, Doctor, we were together at school at Aliwonga.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Kumalo. He's a star, he's a legend, we respect him and we love him, and he's a father as well.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed because I'm Soweto and I never knew this. I've always thought Pume Kuruleni for some strange reason.
I think it's because I'm in Eguruleni right now by virtue of the church.
Right.
And of course, in fact, I moved from Soweto in 1992.
Okay.
And went to Eguruleni.
So do you regard yourself as a Igurulelian or you are still a Sowetan?
Listen, I'm a South African.
I love that. Shout out to South Africa.
Right.
So you are a father of how many boys or girls?
4 boys.
4 boys.
Yeah.
And how old are they?
The first one he was born in 1988. The second one, 1990, if I'm not mistaken. And then the third one, 1997. And the fifth one was in 2007.
Shout out to Amatyma who remember the birthdays by year. Yeah, I get talked about when you remember by the year that you're born.
Man,
of course, you'll never forget that. And what is it like to be a father? You know, I called you here as a father, as a man, as someone who is a public figure, someone who's highly respected in the community.
Right.
What does it look like, you being a father at home versus you being a preacher?
Well, it's an exciting experience, to
Right.
tell you the truth. And then more so with me, I'm so glad because I'm fathering boys.
Right.
I wouldn't know how to handle girls.
Shout out to the girls.
You know, the boys, I handle them like, you know, hey, stop, aume baba,
Right.
aume, you know.
Right.
You know, it's more like we're friends, but they know their limits and they know their boundaries.
Right.
And I think one thing that I've learned, and I lost my dad when I was 14 years old.
You're a teenager.
I was really a teenager.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what fatherhood was because I was still very young.
Yes, you were.
But I looked up at him because of the work that he was doing, and that is the work of the gospel,
Right.
you know, preaching the gospel and all that. And,
Sure.
and he was a disciplinarian.
Are you one?
No. I think I'm more of a communicator than a physical person. And in saying, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
there.
You don't threaten. You
No,
don't,
no, no.
send idle threats either. Yeah.
No, I speak.
Right.
And I said, if there is anything that has gone wrong, let's talk about it.
I love that.
And, you know, and bring your opinion and let me bring my opinion.
And let's find each other.
Exactly.
Right.
And most of the time, it's an issue of always not forgetting our positions.
Right.
And you have to always remember that you are a son.
Right.
You have to remember that I'm your father.
Yes.
And I have to remember you are a son.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's not an issue of just saying just because you've done wrong and you stopped being my son. You're still a son even when you've done wrong.
Yeah. Even when you grow older, you'll always be my son.
Exactly.
Right.
And when coming to conflicts, let's speak. Let's
Sure.
talk.
I like
Let's
that.
communicate.
I like that. And where did you adopt this parenting style of having conversations with your sons? Was your dad like that with you?
Not really. I think by virtue of the fact that I was the last born, and they would be punished, and my father would punish everyone.
Sure.
I would be the only one that is
Last
not
born.
because I'm the last.
Right.
And they would be doing things, and you know, and he would see that, and,
Sure.
and he would actually say, okay, for everything that you've done. And he, you know, my dad was amazing because he would actually call everyone and say, okay, everyone, magashi zonozak.
Oh wow! So it's doing like a whole lineup, like a prison
Yeah.
lineup.
That is okay. Tell us as to what did you do wrong. And you know what? He was very clever because
He
he
knew
knew what they did.
Right.
So he wanted them to confess.
Oh.
And so that he can beat them up.
Sure. he was setting them up for failure.
And with me, I was still young, so not many things that are wrong
Right.
and that I was doing. The only thing, obviously, was the issue of playing it in the street and
Till late.
playing. Yeah,
Yes.
when I see him coming, I
Run. You'd run. No, that's a story that we can all relate to. I mean, I was raised by a similar type of parenting style. I knew that by 6 o'clock when it gets dark,
Yeah.
I would literally wait by the passage and I'd see my dad getting off the taxi.
Yeah.
I would run home. And by the time he gets home, it'll seem like I've always been the guy. And he would catch me out by my breath because I was still trying to catch my breath.
Right.
But shout out to all the dads. So what is it about your parenting style that is very different to how your dad? I mean, I know you were
Yes.
14 when he passed on, but I'm sure you still have some significant memories of your upbringing. How is it different now? I mean, you've got 4 boys.
Yes.
And that's quite a tough ask on its own, you know.
Oh yeah,
It's a month to pay for,
it
basically.
is. Well, you know, I realize that when they are young, And there is that saying that spare the rod, spoil the child.
Right.
And when they're young, I had to actually use the rod.
Aha.
And when they started becoming like 12, 14,
Right.
and then I would actually lose the grip just a
A
little.
little bit, but the grip is still there. But
It's still
a little
there,
bit.
but
And back
yeah.
then it was okay because we were
Yeah.
used to the fact that a father next door, an uncle, a teacher actually had the right to reprimand you.
Right.
In fact, you would get
Right.
a beating twice.
Yeah,
From that particular.
exactly.
But when and
Right.
get it again.
Yes.
So when they turn 12, 14, you'd let go kancane.
Yeah, I think that is was my way of actually saying you need to be responsible. Now, and one other thing I learned is that you cannot actually punish a child you have not taught.
True.
You have to teach, and then you can punish after
Based
teaching.
on the teaching.
Yeah, based on the teaching.
Sure. Because there has to be a lesson, right?
Exactly. Don't actually try to teach a child by punishing the child.
True.
Teach
Because you're
the
punishing
child.
the relationship as well between you and the child.
Exactly, and it's unfair. It's not a fair approach.
No, it's
because
not.
how will he know it's
If
wrong?
he doesn't learn from you and the teaching.
Yeah, you
Sure.
didn't actually teach him. As
Yeah.
don't get close to the fire.
Yeah.
I told you don't
Yeah.
get
Why?
close.
Why?
You will,
But we spoke about this.
yes, we spoke about it. You will burn, and I don't want you to burn.
Sure.
But if you did that
Sure.
again,
Yeah.
and I discovered that there is no time where a parent should say, I'm done. You have to continue for the rest
Of
of
your
the
life.
child's life.
You brought them into this world.
Yes, and continue to teach and continue even to guide and mentor.
I love that.
Yeah.
Guide and mentor. So I wanna put you on the spot. You've got your own church. In your church, how many men do you think are congregants? If you had to just guess.
It's so amazing because my church is around 1,000,
Right.
and so I would say 30%.
30% is men.
Yeah.
And 70% is
70.
So you've got about 300 men in your church. Men and boys, I would
Yeah.
put it that way.
Yeah.
So I wanna propose that we one day do a summit of sorts where you bring all 300 into the church
Right,
space,
right.
just men only, and we can get to speak about everything that affects their wellness.
Yeah.
Outside the religion, because I know that they go there to worship, they go there as members of the church, but to have the church play a significant role in having conversations with these men outside the usual, which is obviously going to worship and pray. And do you think that's something that you would consider?
Look, they are, how can I put it? They are spirit in the flesh.
Yeah.
So you cannot only give them the spirit and not actually look into the flesh part.
I love that.
And
love that.
because they are still flesh.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean when I am saved and I'm a Christian, then the flesh stops.
Absolutely.
Or
it dies.
It dies, or that you need to continue to manage the flesh,
Right.
and align it with your spirit.
Sure.
So that there would be oneness in you.
In you.
I'm sorry about that.
No. And I told
I don't know.
I told Dad, hold on silent, and guess what? We'll pray about it and pray over it. Maybe that call is a blessing.
There is no prayer about it. You just have to stop.
Absolutely. So in your leadership, as a man,
Yes, sir.
what is the one thing that keeps you awake and that worries you in terms of what's happening with men in this world? There's gender-based violence.
Yes.
It's a topic that we have to talk about, and we need to talk about, and we should talk about. I'm not sure if you're aware that in South Africa, every 63 seconds, a woman or child are a victim of gender-based violence. How does it make you feel as someone who's a leader, who's a public figure and a father?
Look, I can tell you right now, especially in South Africa, I think we have a spirit that has been unleashed, that is meant to discredit
Yeah.
the man.
Yeah.
and to present the men in a different light.
Sure.
And I'm saying it's a spirit because we were groomed as black people to respect
Right.
our neighbors.
Absolutely.
And to always take care of those that are around us.
Very true.
More so when coming to our women.
Mm.
And we are culturally, a man is actually the pillar of the home. And now the man has turned to be or he has turned to pray over.
He's a perpetrator.
Yes, exactly. He's praying now over his family.
Yeah.
He is actually the enemy to the family. And the reason why I'm saying it's a spirit is because, even our own government is not able to get to nipping that in the butt.
Yeah, because if they did, we wouldn't have cases every 63 seconds. We shouldn't have cases if they were actually, being proactive about some of the issues that are a reality.
And the truth of the matter, Titi, is that we can only do as much, especially as human beings.
Sure.
We need to get to a point where we actually, meaning nip it in the bud, in the spirit first.
Yeah.
And then we come back to the physical.
Sure.
In saying, okay, we got you in the spirit. Now we are getting you in the physical now.
Like that.
And we have even the authority, of coming and really fighting you by the authority that God has given us.
Sure.
And I think it has to definitely even, like you're saying, start even in the church, because community is in the church.
Absolutely. Trust is in the church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we can have our men and know their position, there is this thing that we have lost our proper domain as men.
Right.
And the moment a person loses his proper domain, it simply means that that person it has allowed things to come in because he's no more where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's almost the same situation that we have of the solar eclipse, and that we are talking about today. And the sun has been blocked by the moon.
Right.
And right now we have it as a full eclipse.
Right.
And the moon, the moment the moon takes the position of the sun, then darkness comes.
Yeah.
So in other words, when a man loses his positioning, his light, then darkness comes.
Sure.
And so we should not allow as men to have anything blocking our light, or come and how can I put it?
Tamper with the position that
With
you're
our
ordained with.
Exactly.
Maybe I must preach.
Come on.
Come on. Titi, brother, Bishop.
So when anything blocks or removes you from your proper domain,
your purpose,
the
true north,
and your beginning
sure,
has been displaced, then there is going to be darkness. There is going to be confusion.
Sure.
There is going to be, when there is an eclipse, even animals get confused, and they think it's night, and yet it's still day.
Sure.
It's just that there is something that has kind of like
blocking that light.
That light.
And gender-based violence is that darkness in our communities, in our societies. And I also think the lack of communication with our children at a young age also leads to such. I don't think any man gets born a rapist. I don't think any man gets born a racist. And so these things are acquired somewhere, somehow.
Right.
What's your take on the family unit? How important is the family unit?
It is important because the misplacement of roles then messes up even the children.
It's what they call generational curses.
Yeah, well,
you pass it on to them.
Yes, that's right. And one other thing is that you don't have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Even just you living your life, and children are actually kind of like influenced by you.
They're watching you.
They're watching
right behind you.
Exactly.
Everything you do, your mannerisms, your behavior,
exactly.
how you treat other people.
Yeah. And you may be destroying the next generation
without even being aware of it.
Exactly.
Sure.
Just by your life, and this is what I think God helped me with, and He kept on saying to me, "All you do not have to actually instruct and command your children.
Sure.
All you need to do, live the life.
Sure.
Live. In other words, live right."
Oh, is that why you've got the song? Keeps on.
Now, where are you going now, TT? We're talking.
I mean, I'm having a conversation with you. So,
right.
So for me, I'm led by what you're saying.
Right,
does that have anything to do with, keep on giving,
It has everything to do with it. And as a matter of fact, I wrote a song that is called Leave It Right.
Leave it right.
In other words, life is just for a while.
Sure.
Whoever leaves it must leave it
right.
or make sure that he leaves it right.
Come on, you have to give us a chorus at the least of that song. The chorus, I mean, you can't bring a songwriter, composer.
Life is just for a while. Whoever leaves it should try and live it right. Live it right.
Amazing.
Say it right. Do it right. Anyway, let me live it.
Come on. There's a lot for us to talk about, but one of the things I wanted to talk about is your upcoming gala dinner.
Yeah.
Celebrating, I think, 30 years.
30 years in ministry.
Please tell us a little bit about that, because these are things that you cannot not mention in this interview. To run a church for a period of 30 years is no child's play.
No.
You are dealing with people's lives, people's spirits.
Certainly.
Just give us the details so that those that are watching and listening can also possibly attend.
Look, 30 years, 1992, I actually got a very clear, how can I say, persuasion, and somehow in my, relationship with God, and God said, you know what, I cannot praise myself, I cannot worship myself, and in fact, I have created human beings to actually praise me or be to the praise of my name, because I created them.
Right.
And so, and then God said, I want you to establish a place. And that's why we call it as High Praise Center.
High Praise Center.
Yes.
Shout out to High Praise Center and all the congregants. We love you.
Yeah. And then we actually established it in 1994,
right,
just before the democratic
elections on the 27th of April.
Right. And so, and then we then started as a revival. We did a revival for about 2 weeks.
Right.
And so that's how High Praise Center was established, and the actual vision of it is that we must usher God's government
into the institution. Yeah.
On earth.
Love that.
Usher God's government. In other words, the authority of God. How do we do that? We are doing it by acknowledging and worshiping Him and praising Him. He says, I dwell in the praises of my people. Whenever my people praise me and they worship me, I come down and then walk among them, because that is a magnet for me. Whenever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I will be there in their midst. Sure. And guess what, Titi? When you talk about the devil too much, he will show up.
He will show you flames.
All right.
And I've been blessed and privileged to attend your church. It is the first time. I mean, I'm being completely honest. I'm 45 years old, and I've attended different church services. It's the first time that I've experienced such a long praise and worship session, but it didn't feel like it. I've never been in a situation like that where praise and worship just took over, and we were just letting ourselves go and letting the Spirit take control.
The reason is because it's the house of the Lord.
Right.
It's the house not of Benjamin.
Yeah.
It's not the house of people. It's the house of the Lord.
Sure.
In other words, the focus, or the famous one,
Right.
or the popular one in the house.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
God.
I'm starting to preach. The most popular one in the house is God.
Nothing else.
And no one has to be above God.
Right.
If he says, I need you to just worship me all the way from the beginning until the end, we'll do it.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because it's his house.
His house.
You know, but at the same time, we need to always be cognizant of the fact that when he comes, he doesn't just come for praise.
Yes.
He speaks to his people.
I love
And
that.
and he lets them know how grateful he is. And that is through the word. And then he speaks to us and he tells us that now I'm giving you the power to go out.
So you are the instrument. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. One of the things I wanted to chat about with you is the concept of judgment
Yeah.
in society, societal judgment.
Yeah.
You are a preacher. You are a respected public figure. How did your divorce affect? And I hope you're comfortable. If you're not, this is not an investigative show where we're trying to dig people's lives, but I just also want to teach others about what men go through, what the different wellness related issues that we experience, and divorce being one of them. It's a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but we have to talk about because it is the reality of life. People divorce for different reasons, and we have to respect the reasons. I think what's important is that when there's children involved, that the children are taken care of through it all. So the reason I'm asking about judgment is, of course, you went through a divorce, and I'm sure there was public scrutiny around that. How can a preacher, a bishop, a reverend go through a divorce, and we forget that you're also a human being? So how what's your opinion on judgment, and how did you overcome some of those negative comments that came with that?
Look, you're still talking about a divorce. I'm talking about 2 divorces.
Sure.
You're still behind.
No, I was just trying to manage and not to...
Right.
But I want you to tell your story. It's your journey after all.
Sure.
Yeah.
But look, you go into marriage with 2 characters.
Right.
And then there is a time where you actually don't see things the same.
Yeah.
And with me, in the first divorce, which was my actually main marriage, was because I was more zealous and more enthusiastic about ministry. And then I got to a point where I wanted to please the people. I wanted to be approved
by everybody else,
by everybody,
but yourself,
but even my family.
Sure.
And in fact, I didn't look at my family. I looked at the work, and I made the work God.
Right.
And even when my wife, my ex-wife, whom now we are together now.
Wait. Slow down. So your first wife, you have reconciled with her as we speak.
That's right.
All right. As what?
We are together now.
You're together. Are you guys gonna marry again? Or?
Well, that is for the next podcast.
Okay, that's
yeah.
all right. Keep it locked on the Amatyma Series if you wanna know what's gonna happen next. And then what happened with the second
The
divorce?
second one was physical,
Right.
and it was violent. It was on basis of the fact that when you have children,
Right.
the first one, so every time you have to actually take the children to the first one.
Right. That's
And
an issue.
yeah, and there's an issue there as to why do you spend a lot of time there?
Wow.
Why do you actually have to do everything for her?
Wow.
Why
So it became about her, not the kid, not the children.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was that situation, and such that in going there and in my coming back,
Right.
and she actually was already coming to her place, meaning my ex-wife.
Sure.
And she was coming to her place in checking with why are you still there?
Sure.
And then we met on the road, and that's where there was that violence and
Towards you.
yeah, towards me.
Sure.
And obviously I knew if I would lay a hand,
It's a different story.
I
you
was
know
go-
them. You know
yeah.
the tabloids would have
no,
had you for lunch.
not even the
Yeah.
tabloids, even the police.
Right.
She would go to
Yeah.
the police station, and she
Yeah.
would say he did this, and I'm locked up.
Sure.
You know, and
Sure.
and I didn't touch her. I didn't do it, but I had bruises.
Sure.
And
And you
that's
never
what-
opened the case?
No, I didn't. I'm a pastor. You know.
Right.
I forgive.
Shout out to forgiveness, man. Shout out to forgiveness, man. But how did that make you feel as a man? I mean, did they take your manhood away just to be exposed to such violence? Because that is violence.
Yes. To start with, my boys were enraged.
They were all there. They
No,
witnessed this
no. When I got back home,
and saw
and they saw me, and they said, "Dad, no,
this is not on.
You can." At that time, we were still together
Right.
with her, meaning the second one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we were living together with my boys,
Sure.
with her, and so and they were. I said, "No, don't do it. Don't fight."
Oh,
her."
they were ready to go to war for their dad.
Oh yeah, no, certainly.
Sure.
I mean, and more so. I mean, after that, and people were like, Benjamin was hit by the woman.
How insensitive can people be? You know, and these are things we need to talk about, because when you flip the coin,
Yeah.
it's something else. And
Yeah.
when you go as a man to a police station to report a case like this, they'll probably laugh at you.
Oh yes.
And I think those are things that we need to speak about. We need to obviously have conversations with police who are men in terms of handling other men's issues, because you're a man yourself. You should know that it can happen to you,
There are men that have been abused by women,
and no one wants to talk about it.
and no one actually. I nearly said something else. But,
No one wants to discuss
they
it.
don't care.
It doesn't exist.
They don't care.
It's like we must man up. We must continue with life.
It can only be women that are being abused.
Sure.
But the truth of the matter is that there are men who are so how can I put it? Who are so respectful
Right.
of women, such that they don't mind in being laughed at
Yeah.
when they lay hands on. But I've discovered one thing, that the worst thing that a woman can do is to lay a hand on a man who has never laid hands
Yeah.
on her,
Absolutely.
and that is going to bring karma for her.
Yeah.
And things won't go right for her because she has done what was not supposed
To
to
be
be
done.
done.
Yeah, I think this issue of men being abused is something that we really need to tackle and probably unpack, bring in some professionals, because I do know of men personally who are being abused, but they can't talk
Yeah.
about it because they're scared of being, laughed at by other men. And that's the worst part, is that other men laugh at other men as well. You know, you throw unjani, you weak.
Exactly.
I can't believe we are actually at the end of our session. That's how quick things go. But before I let you go, you lost your dad at the age of 14.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that you never had an opportunity to say to him that you'd like to say to him now, in retrospect? If he had to walk in and say to you, I've got 2 minutes, what would you like to say to him?
You know, I would say thank you for introducing me to the creator of everything and the sustainer of everything. And I would thank him even for, it is a gift that is beyond material gift, because it gave me wisdom, it gave me integrity, understanding, and in really partnering with God, that was a gift that I never knew that it would keep me and give me longevity in life. You know, and when he passed away, I actually thought he left me a note or you know, some people leave a will, but others don't leave anything.
They leave problems.
Yeah. And I thought that's what he left us. But later on, I discovered that he put in me something that will last me forever and for eternity. And by him just making me aware that my partnership with God and my relationship with God is able to make me unstoppable, untouchable.
Have you ever said, "I love you" to your dad?
At that time, I didn't even know what love was, you know, and obviously even him was not a very kind of like a very close person. He was, like I said, very tough
love.
Yes, exactly, tough love. And but right now, I actually say to God, Lord, I love you for my father. I thank you for my father. I thank you to know now that he really loved us. In making sure that we keep away from the ways of
the world,
of lawlessness.
As a parting shot, Dad, what is your greatest wish for your 4 sons?
Ooh. When you touch them,
I can see in your face. You touch me.
I love my sons, and I always tell them, I love them. I am proud of them. And, you know, I thank God for keeping them within the boundaries of his love. And so all I pray for, and I always pray for my sons, all I pray for is that they may always live a life of wisdom, understanding, and a life of accommodating other people, showing love to other people, and always remember God is first in their lives, and he will keep them. And as a matter of fact, I know they are going to be great men in our country.
Dad, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming to the Amatyma series. You are definitely coming back. We need to unpack a lot of other issues that affect the wellness of the man. But the biggest lesson for me here as a father, as a husband, is to tell your loved ones you love them whilst they're still alive. Don't wait to tell them when they're gone. Give people the roses to smell whilst they can. Another great episode of the Amatyma series in partnership with PRAAT Radio. Thank you, Bishop Benjamin DUBE. See Valley City. Danko.